I'd like to call the December 16th City Council meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here today. We're going to go ahead and get started. We do not have any announcements this evening. We don't have any proclamations, nor do we have presentations. We'll start with item 5, council committee reports, with the finance committee report.
Thank you, Cecilia. The Finance Committee did meet last Wednesday for a very brief meeting, and we discussed the consent agenda item, item 7B, 7C, recommending for approval, along with item 8. And that was really the extent of the meeting. We also talked about our calendar for 2025.
Great, thank you, John. Okay, item 6, department reports. The health department report, that report is listed in the website, the city agenda website, if anyone wants to take a look at the latest report for the health department. Moving on to item 7, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? A motion by John Weingart, second by Pete Peterson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Moving on to business and financial, item 8, R121624B. This is a resolution authorizing the city controller to appropriate additional general funds to the city of Fishers municipal budget, and this does require a public hearing.
Thank you. For the record, Lisa Bradford, City Controller. The item before you, while it's titled an additional appropriation, is literally more of an interfund loan from the general fund to what is called the Barrett Law Fund. For some context, this council is very familiar with the Barrett Law process. We've talked about some of the private roads here in Fishers and the process to make improvements on those roads. A few years ago, these two projects, Barrett East and Barrett West, which are projects, business parks on both sides of 37, the Publishers Drive, and then kind of the Pinheads Honda dealership, that side of 37 also, were identified as good candidates for Barrett Law. So through the Municipal Barrett Law project, the city has undertaken improvements to those roads. And as part of the process of Barrett Law, once the project is paid, there's a financing that is paid to the contractors who have done the work, and then the property owners are assessed the levy to repay that amount of work. Traditionally, this is something that goes out and gets financed, similar to kind of how you see our bond financings occur. We discussed with our finance team, which consists of our legal team and our municipal bond advisors, about taking this bond to market. So for context, the full improvement amount of these two projects together is around $1.6 million. Desire on the market was not real high for this bond for a variety of reasons. A, it's a small amount for most banks or people that would finance it. Security is essentially the business owners repaying semi-annually. There is a lien that is placed on them so we can collect, but it's not kind of as a great security out on the open market, so there is some risk. So internally, we discussed a lot of options, and the option we arrived at is for the general fund to essentially loan the Barrett Law Fund the money needed to do this transaction. Property owners then will pay back the city, and those funds will essentially pay back the general fund plus the interest. So at the end of the period, it will be a net zero effect. The city will earn a little bit of excess interest on that current money, but this allows a little bit of a lower interest rate for those property owners that choose to do the installment payment method, and also gives them more flexibility if they would like to pay us off early. That wasn't a great option in looking out to go to the open market. So for that reason, we are asking the council to approve this, and it'll essentially be an interfund loan and used to kind of finish off the Barrett Law process. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
We're going to do 10 years semi-annually. Yeah.
Does Barrett Law control the years
No, we had discussions on 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. We landed on the 10. Right, Lindsay, it's 10, right? 20, sorry, I lied, 20. 10, we discussed 10 and 20. 10, 20, 30. Landed in the middle at 20, sorry.
It says 10 in paperwork.
Does it say 10?
Yes.
Did we land at 10? I thought it was 10-year, 20 payments.
No, we did 20 years of biannual payments.
Okay, we can fix that one.
Yeah.
That was, it basically, you have the amount of time that we set in it. We set the term for them. I know Rich Bassett, who's really spearheaded this, has talked a lot to the property owners. For context, we've already received almost $700,000 from property owners who have prepaid. So most of the property owners, the vast majority are prepaying. Then we have a few that want to do it for like 2 or 3 and then pay off the full amount.
Prepaid at a discount?
No, they just don't get the interest charge. So, yeah. So, but then this flexibility allows if someone after 2 years wants to go ahead and pay off the balance. Also, if you're selling the property that has been levied against it, you can include that as cost of closing and pay that off as cost of closing too. So you can do that. So you can either transfer it to the new property owner or do that. So.
Any other questions for Lisa?
I'll make a motion to approve with the item change from 10 to 20 years.
Okay, we need to have a public hearing first.
You still take the motion, which is
Still
fine.
take motion.
Okay, so motion by Pete Peterson.
Second.
Second by Brad DeReamer, okay. We're going to go ahead and open the public hearing right now. Anyone wishing to speak, please come up to the mic, state your name and address for the record. If you'd like to come up for this item. Okay, seeing there's nobody coming up, we'll close the public hearing. There's a motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Moving on to government and miscellaneous, item 9, 121624. This is a request to approve an amendment to chapter 98 of the City of Fishers Code of Ordinances dealing with noise. And this is up for first reading.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. For the record, Assistant Chief Mike Taylor with the PD. Bringing forward first reading, a request amendment to our noise ordinance. Hasn't been changed in over 10 years. And with our mixed-use development, we're kind of running into some issues with residents, neighborhoods, multi-family housing being closed to restaurants, bars, or other businesses with live music in particular. And then just in general, trying to bring some of the noise complaints or things down across the city. To summarize, the main suggestions in the amendment reduction is from a 90 decibel level down to 80. The reason 80 is a mark that's found is just from static noise. We're finding when businesses aren't even open with traffic or other noise going on in the area, we'll reach 70 or plus 70 at some times. 80 is pretty reasonable. The other thing that we're trying to do is increase the distance from a property line or from the device. The current noise ordinance has listed that it's 10 foot from the device itself. Well, in some cases that may not be possible if a speaker amplifier is within a property, or an example, if it was on a private residence within the middle of an acreage plus lot, you're not going to get that close. So recommended language to get 50 feet from the property line of where that sound is coming from. It also cleans up some language in the current ordinance. There was a lot of excess language related to holidays and times, and this simplifies it to make it easier to enforce as well. So making it 80 decibels during what would be normal hours, 7 to 11 p. From 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., that amount goes down or reduces to 70, or it's a plainly audible, especially in a condo apartment style complexes, things like that. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council?
I have some questions, and Lindsay, this may go towards our trash ordinance as well. We had a resident, who I think was from Phil's district, Kroger, where the new Kroger is, I don't know if it's Kroger or the other, businesses along there. We have trash bins that are being just slammed down at between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning.
Okay.
So it wakes everybody's dogs up. Then you have people letting their dogs out because they don't want it barking in the house.
Okay.
You have the whole
So
neighborhood.
that would be in violation of what's current already as
Okay.
it stands now. I can't speak to being called on them. I do know, and I'm tracking with some code enforcement partners with the city of reaching out regards construction in that area specifically in violation of the construction agreements permits, but we'd be happy to look into trash pickup.
Yeah, I was gonna
Because
say the trash
it's a 7
pickup there.
a.m. start. So there's no change recommended to that piece of the ordinance.
Okay.
That stays
I-
the same.
I know it's violating this, and it's happening 3 to 4 nights a week. So if we
Okay.
could get some assistance with that, greatly appreciate it.
Sure can.
Question, if you could just share kind of what do you advise citizens to do when they feel like there is a violation or, you know, it's very loud? What is the protocol that you would like for them to take and do so that, you know, it's in the record and you can address issues?
Well, we would always want them to call us, whether they call the non-emergency number or 911, they're getting the same folks on the other end of the line, so we would prefer they call us, and that helps us get dispatched at the time that it's going on. So this particular instance with trash pickup overnight, we can direct things after the fact, but it's definitely easier if we can get there in the moment or in the time that there's an issue going on.
I'm setting my phone with that number. I'll be calling you about 3 a.m.
Okay. There's someone there 24/7, so they'll pick up.
The other thing that has arisen is people are saying there's car, you know, muffler sounds, revved up engines. They're asking, you know, what can be done from your perspective. Could you also just share what you can and can't do with regard to?
So again, within this noise ordinance itself, the motor vehicle portion, there's no change. It's 30 foot from a device. A device would be music amplifying speakers. There are state statute as it relates to performance enhancing mufflers, things like that is what's enforceable.
Okay.
It's enforceable, but it doesn't apply to the noise ordinance itself. It's a state statute.
Thank you for clarifying, because there's been a lot of emails and calls of people, you know, that are not understanding the difference and what can be done, so appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am?
Anybody else? Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairman. I just want to bring myself up to speed. Have we made any changes to this proposed ordinance since the last time we came at first reading when it was at 70? I know, other than the 80, what changes from the distances have you made since then?
So again, it's 50, so the distance is the same from our meeting here separate post our last council visit. Those distances are the same as it relates to our property line, and it's not from a device itself, it's from the property line as measured because of you get in the subjectiveness of one, can you get on the property where the noise is coming from, where it's better that it's from a property line, and then it's easier to measure a distance that's further away rather than arguing semantics over 10 feet, so that's why they increase.
Okay.
And if
thank-
it's louder further away, then it's
then it's-
a bigger problem.
And thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm comfortable at 80 because I understand that there's work being pursued by planning and zoning staff and Lindsay on a companion ordinance that may solve the problem that we're trying to solve, which is loud bands in a residential area. So I'm comfortable going on first reading with this, knowing that that's being worked on. But if those ordinances if we don't see what those ordinances look like, my concern with 80 is that it still doesn't solve the problem that we're trying to solve. But I'm comfortable letting this go on first reading with the understanding that Ross and his staff are working on a proposed ordinance on the zoning side of it.
Yes, sir, understood. So similar, the types of bands or music that businesses are doing falls more in a permitting zoning. From a police perspective, we feel a change to the ordinance is a step forward because the 90 mark, and within the current one, there's a 115 mark within there on a max noise, not related to a device, but it could be construction, can't think of any number of different things, but that's way over the top loud, so any move forward, I think from our perspective is good. I know we're willing and spoke with Ross and trying to come up with a plan that is more tenable for areas or zoning related specifics to types of music.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Do we have first reading? First reading, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to item 10, 121624A. This is a request to approve an amendment to the 2025 salary ordinance.
Good evening, Ethan Lee, Director of Human Resources. I'm here to request an amendment to the 2025 salary ordinance to better align with professional and administrative functions required by these roles. The following health department positions are asked to be reclassified as exempt, also referred to as salaried, under the Fair Labor Standards Act. That would be health educator, social worker, and operations and administration manager. These changes don't impact the salary grade and are already included in the 2025 payroll budget. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions regarding the salary ordinance?
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and approve on first reading.
Motion to suspend the rules and approve on first reading by Pete Peterson, second by Bill Stewart. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Pete Peterson. Second. Second by Tiffany Detlitson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Ethan.
Moving on to planning and zoning, we're dealing with voluntary annexations this evening. Item 11 is R121624D. This is a request to approve a resolution adopting the fiscal plan for Kid City USA on Cynthia Ann Road.
Yes, good evening, and for the record, Ross Hillary, Director of Planning and Zoning. Item 11 and item 12 are on the same item, or the same item, so I'll talk about them together, but they are separate and do require two separate votes. Before you tonight is R121624D and ordinance 111824A. This is the final reading and fiscal reading for the Kid City USA Cynthia Ann Road annexation. This is 3.61 acres on Cynthia Ann Road, 12344. You guys saw this before in November for first reading and approved a new rezone for this property for future daycare. Happy to answer any questions.
I'm going to make a
Thanks,
motion to
Ross.
approve item 11.
Second.
So motion to approve the annexation by Pete Peterson, second by Selena Stoller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Make a motion to approve item 12.
Motion by Pete Peterson, second by Selena Stoller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to the Autumn Estates annexation, item 13, R121624C. This is a request to approve a resolution adopting the fiscal plan for the Autumn Estates property. And item 14 is also related to this property as well.
This is all voluntary, right?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by John Weingart, second by Todd Zimmerman. All those in favor to approve item 13, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item 14, motion by John Weingart, second by, was it Todd Zimmerman? Todd Zimmerman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Thank you, Ross. Okay, moving on to item 15 under unfinished and new business. This city council meeting is my last council meeting as serving as president of the city council. Every year we approve and nominate new leadership for the subsequent year. And I would like to nominate and make a motion to have Pete Peterson be president for next year and vice president be John DeLucia for the city council. Is there a second? Second by Tiffany Detlitson. Any discussion? Seeing,
Good job.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, congratulations. I want to wish everyone a really wonderful holiday and New Year, and it's been a pleasure serving again as City Council President. And it's been a pleasure working with all of you too this year, so appreciate that. We're moving on to item 16, community comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please come up to the podium, say your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak. Looks like we don't have anybody there, so we'll close the community comment. Do I have a motion to
So
adjourn?
moved.
So moved.
Motion by Pete, second
Second.
by Selena Stoller. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Awesome meeting.
All right.
20 minutes.
All right.